Welcome to Scofield Farm. My poppies decided to bloom. We've tried to grow, actually transplant, red corn poppies several years and never been successful. And these are blooming, and a lot of the other ones have buds. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. I hope that they come back in this area over and over again. We are always planting something around here. I think that's what happens when you buy property that was basically a blank slate, is that I had so much vision for it. We had so much vision that we can't do it all at once, so we add to it little by little. Let me show you the other thing we're planting, which is going to be fun. Okay, right here we are going to make room all the way down this fence line to transplant some more of the purple bearded iris like we have over here along a different fence line. My sister thinned her irises. She has so very many. So we transplanted these 2 falls ago. And we're wanting to do the same right over there. And we have some of her irises that need to be planted this week. That is super exciting to me because I love the curb appeal of houses and properties that have tons of things blooming out front. This is a west facing, our front door faces west, so the sun's really brutal on this side. So anything that does well over here that can bloom at different times of year is exactly what I want. See our oleander? Oleander is not great for goats. We don't have goats, but it actually is a toxic plant. But this was already here, and I like it because it's like a privacy kind of shrub, but it blooms so vibrant that I love having color in the front of our house. I want to show you another little thing that that we did a couple years ago that's finally doing okay because we're watering. Let me turn the camera around. Okay. In here, we have a fig tree that we transplanted from a friend of ours locally that had it in their yard. It is very small. We actually transplanted it, I think 2 summers ago, but it did so terrible last summer because we were on severe water restrictions and barely ever watered it. But it's like a very low hanging bush right now, and I can't wait till it is a huge tree, offering privacy right here and having a lot of fruit for us and for just nature out here in the country. I have another little tiny fig right here. This is the Cadota fig. It's that tag right there is accurate, and a friend of mine gave it to me when she moved. That branch stump trunk right there was what she had, and it died on us, but it is coming up. See in there? It's coming up from the very bottom, and we are watering it regularly, so hopefully this thing actually makes a comeback, and we can have 2 fig trees out here on the west side of our property, offering shade, privacy, and fruit. I'm honestly amazed that they lived at all. Like, we watered out here so little. You know, they're kind of far. They're not on irrigation for us. They only were in like the yard irrigation, and we don't even have grass. That's all weeds. We didn't water it once, not even once last spring, summer. So we would cart out little buckets of water, but we didn't do it daily. They weren't established. I'm just shocked they ever lived in the first place. My potted citrus is doing great. The lime tree has some limes. Tons on this tree. I believe this is one of the mandarins. Actually, maybe it's not. I'm trying to remember what that is. I think actually that's a grapefruit, which that's great. That's fun. Over here is one of my mandarins. I forgot. I better label my stuff. Although once they get fruit, you can actually tell better. Oh, this has tons and tons and tons, but they're little. So I'm not sure how many are going to stay on. It will for sure drop some because there are so many. Like those yellow ones, I'm sure will drop. but that green one will probably make it. So fun. This lemon tree, it's got quite a few baby lemons on it. It definitely looks like it needs a little something. It's yellowing a little bit, which makes me think I might need to feed it with something high in nitrogen, like blood meal, right there. But overall, it's growing really well. My hollyhocks are all about to bloom. Well, not all, but the established ones. This is a light pink one in a pot. And my canna in a pot is about to bloom. These are beautiful. Can you turn it on a little more?
Good boy. Good boy,
Just doing a little bit of watering. Although, I think it might rain. But I haven't watered for several days. So I'm gonna do a little bit and then let the rain maybe bring it deeper. So I have a little bit of yellowing of some of my plants. If you look here, right here, see how there's a little bit yellowing? Sometimes yellowing means that there needs to be more nitrogen. So I like to feed my plants, especially if they need nitrogen, with fish emulsion. I get organic fish emulsion. We've had it for a while. A gallon lasts a long time. The label rubbed off, so I'm not advertising for any company, but that is what we do. So you can spray it directly on the plants. You use the measurements on the bottle to get the right proportion, but it's like an ounce to a gallon is roughly what I remember, and it's what I did, and so it doesn't burn the plants. You can put it right on it. It can green up the leaves. It gives very easy for it to process nitrogen. It smells terrible. I basically smell like dead fish for the next 2 or 3 days. It doesn't matter how much I wash my hands or my clothing or shower. I just cannot get rid of that horrible smell, but it really helps. And I'm into using things in the garden that are not synthetic, but are natural based. So I like to use it, but yeah. Sometimes I've even picked peppers later, and the peppers tasted a little bit fishy unless I washed it really well in vinegar. So this stuff, that smell does not go away. So we're gonna work on this, and also we are going to finally mulch some of these beds that are not mulched. If you look down here, you can see how the compost and soil that they were planted into dries out very quickly if it is not covered. Soil likes to be covered. So I have some wood chips that we sifted just with, I used to have a nice sifter that had hardware cloth, but now we're just using chicken wire, which is not quite as great, but it works. And I'm going to put some wood chips in here. Wood chips this size are not ideal. This is when we didn't sift. You more want them, let's see, kind of like this is kind of the biggest you really want. They will all eventually break down, but it's kind of nice to have them more mulch-like. You also want them aged. You don't want them right off a tree that's cut. You want at least 6 months of age. So I'm just giving a quick spray down to this, and then I'm going to come over here and mulch this all because it's actually a really nice cool week. We will head into triple digits. That will be basically never ending. I am also putting fish emulsion on my sweet potato slips. They had a little bit of a rough transplant shock because they were so root bound. I showed that in a prior video. They were very root bound because time got away from us with all that's been going on in my family. Here's the good news though. I was really worried about the yellow leaves, but some of them right here are getting nice fresh green leaves coming up the middle. So they're going to be okay. I just want to give them a little bit of nitrogen boost to green them up and hopefully encourage that new growth so that they don't die while they're waiting for those new fresh leaves to come up. Okay, so part of living in a very hot, dry climate. I know there's places that are hot, like in the south, but they're not dry. They have rain, they have humidity. We are extremely dry, almost, well, we're a Mediterranean climate. I was gonna say almost desert-like, but it's Mediterranean is what it is. We don't have rain for like 5 or 6 months of the year, and then we have a rainy season. Mulching with either straw or partially decomposed wood chips, aged wood chips, is essential where we live, or gardening doesn't work. I've heard the saying that the soil doesn't like to be naked. It wants to be covered. And so that's so true when you live in a really, really dry place. Is it doesn't matter how much you water, if you don't cover your soil, your plants will suffer. So I like wood chips. I feel like they're less messy than straw. And when they're smaller, they're easier to pull aside to do planting. So I'm gonna go through here. I already had some on the edges of this bed. I'm gonna go through here and go under each of my pepper plants just so they don't evaporate quite so fast. It was a high of about, I think about 85 or not, I want to say it's like 85 to 87 today. And the soil on top looks so, so dry. If you come look, see that? It was watered today. So if we have the wood chips on top, it's going to actually still look damp under it when we pull it away, even on a hot day, because they lock it in so well. And it helps the plant not be distressed. Go around the plants gently and try to make sure that there is no soil left uncovered. Some people do really deep mulching. I'm probably only doing about 2 inches here, so it's not that terribly deep. And I don't wear gloves a lot gardening, but I do with wood chips, or I try to. Otherwise you get tons of little splinters. I ran out of wood chips, so a wheelbarrow amount was not enough, but I did get, goodness, 1 whole pepper bed, mulched, half a tomato bed, half the other pepper bed, just because of the side of the beds I was on. I'll probably do more tomorrow, but let me show you. It looks so much better, and I feel like the plants are going to be so much happier after I fed them the fish emulsion and I mulched them with the wood chips. I feel like they're just really gonna start taking off. Volunteer sunflower. Look, it is going to be so good. They're gonna hold in the water so much better. They're not gonna be so sensitive to the heat. And really, the wood chips feed the soil as they break down. So this is just gonna make for richer, nicer soil. As the years go by in this bed, they just keep getting better and better and better. See these little peppers starting? That's a Ralph Thompson. In here, there's some Anaheim. Oh, so many fun ones. Ainsley Wax. I just honestly can't wait. I love pepper season. I love it. Oh. And they're actually doing pretty good for the fact that we got them planted so late this year. So late, and I didn't mulch them right away. I hadn't fed them right away with the fish emulsion. Like I usually feed them a couple times the start of the season and then I kind of forget because things are busy. But I haven't done that and they still look really good. I am so encouraged. And look at that onion. It's getting ready. I really don't have that many onions that did well that weren't the spring onions that bolted, but that one looks great. When onions start to bulb like this, pull the soil and wood chips or straw away a little bit because they don't like to be crowded, and they should bulb up better when they're given a little bit of room. And there is the first cayenne of the season. As I said, a little bit behind last year, but they're not doing too shabby. So it's time for dinner time. Tomorrow I will come back out. I'll finish my mulching. I will finish putting some fish emulsion on some other plants, and I've got a lot left to do out here. I need to tie up tomatoes again and just go through and tidy things up, harvest, check things. I love it. There's never a time that's lacking for things to do in the garden, especially during the spring and summer. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. Happy gardening. All right, we're gonna have those irises. So much hard work by my boys and my husband.